All right, what's up, everybody? Bobby here with Crew Cheese Corner. We're popping on here live. I know I put out 8:30, but we are coming on a little early, trying to get some folks in here. So we have our YouTube live going on right now. So um, basically, this is the first one we've ever done like this with this particular setting. So what we've done in the past is usually like a Google Hangout, and we usually stream that through YouTube. But this is the first one we've ever done on this particular account. So thank you guys for that. If you can't hear me or anything, let me know. I'm still trying to figure out how this all kind of works with the microphone and everything. I know on YouTube I wasn't really able to select the microphone that I was using. So if you can't hear me, let me know. But what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about this past weekend in Kansas. So I said I wasn't going to do the same show that I did on Facebook, and I'm not planning on doing the same show. So basically, this weekend in Kansas, we had two very interesting races. We had a first time winner out at in the Xfinity race, and Brandon Jones. So congratulations to him on getting his first win of his career. So congratulations to him. And then we also saw. Sorry, I'm going to try to get this going a little bit here. See if we can get this on Facebook real quick. I don't want it on mine. Manage. Here we go. All right, cool. So, if you guys know of anybody that would like to see this live, you could share it and all that fun stuff. But we saw Brandon just pick up his first career Xfinity win. Really happy for him. I know he's kind of been the subject of a lot of criticism. There is a YouTuber that actually that went out and did a video about the 10 worst drivers in NASCAR, and Brandon Jones, believe it or not, was, according to this person, the worst driver in NASCAR. Now, again, I don't know if I would per se say that he's the worst out there. He's had moments where, yeah, he should have won races. His stats aren't spectacular. If you look at other drivers that have raced in this series, and I know, like, there's a lot of stat comparison that this person did, and they really did say that Brandon was the worst driver in NASCAR. But it was so funny because I saw that video for the first time last week, and then what happens? Brandon Jones goes out and wins this week. So very interesting to see Brandon Jones picking up his first career win. Like I said, I was kind of happy for him. He's always been somebody I like to run into in the garage area in the Xfinity series. My girlfriend Alyssa and we actually took a photo with Brandon at Dover a couple weeks ago. So the so-called selfie Olympics have struck again, and Alyssa once again got a picture with a NASCAR winner in Brandon Jones. So congratulations to him. Then on Sunday, we got to see a very exciting finish between Denny Hamlin and the rest of the field. Denny picks up win number 5 on the season. So his magical season continues, and we will see if that actually ends up being a championship for him. So it'll be interesting to see how that all turns out. I don't really know. If you listen to the Facebook Live, I don't really know if I would put uh, my money behind it. I would say that I think Denny has a shot at being in the Final Four, but I really don't think, if I was a betting person, to be putting my money on Denny Hamlin winning a championship this year at Homestead Miami Speedway. I just think there's other drivers out there that would be a better pick. If you guys have anybody that you think would be in your Final Four, I did say my Final Four on Facebook. I'll say it here just in case those of you that are tuning in haven't caught it. It was Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and Kevin Harvick. So it would be 3 guys that are going for a second championship and 1 guy going for their first championship. I picked Martin Truex Jr. to win his second championship of his career and his first at Gibbs So I would say Truex would be the champion this year, and that's what I'm picking. Um, don't really have anything for sure that would really clinch it for me. I just think that Martin Truex going down the stretch would be somebody to watch. He's run very well at some of these tracks that are coming up. He had a second place at Martinsville last year. Obviously, the whole he's not going to win the damn war thing happened, and then Joey won. But I do think Martin Truex picks up the championship this year. He gets a second. And then I would say, Hamlin, probably Hamlin, Harvick, and Logano would be the way they would finish. I don't have a lot of faith in Joey this year in the sense that that team has been kind of hit or miss this year, and I just don't know if they have enough there to really get to where he needs to be in order to get into victory lane. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out for Joey and the rest of this field. But it's going to be interesting to see how that all works out. I just kind of not sure how it's going to work for Joey, not sure how it's going to work for Kevin Harvick or anybody else. Now, this week has been very interesting as far as news goes. We haven't really had a lot of news come out so far this week about like next year. I mean, we know we know that Bowyer's back at Stewart-Haas. That was confirmed. So now the seats are starting to kind of fill up. And I think as we continue to look at who's going to be where and who's going to be doing what, I do think we are going to find more and more. We're gonna see basically not a lot of movement left. There's not a lot of movement left. And what I mean by that is I think Suarez is going to end up in the 41. I think the 32, it sounds like it's still going to be Corey LaJoie for next year, which means if Suarez stays at the 41 and Corey LaJoie stays at the 32, it will be interesting to see what happens at front row. There's been a lot of chatter. Michael McDowell said he wishes he could say that he's going to for sure be back at the 34 camp, but he can't say that right now. He's not really sure. So I don't know if that means there's movement in the water over there at front row on the Michael McDowell front, or that might mean that somebody else is going to be moving. I don't know exactly. But what I will say is you will probably see a new driver in that 38 car, probably Daniel Hemrick, if I had to guess. And then the 34, if it's not McDowell, will be the kind of interesting person, if you had to ask me, who that could possibly be. I'm not really sure today who it would involve, but I would guess that you would see maybe Cole Custer would be a possibility, I would say, but I wouldn't put a lot of stock into that because everything I've heard is that Cole is going to go back to Stewart-Haas in the Xfinity program for next year, and that's where he's going to end up. So we'll see how that all works out. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to see that happen. And then realistically, I think it's Michael McDowell, or it's going to be somebody that has money coming up. I just don't know. It's going to be hard to see, but I think the last movement piece that you're going to see is going to be that movement piece of either, like I said, the driver that replaces Michael McDowell is a guy that's in the Xfinity Series, has money, comes up. Or, I've seen crazier things. There might be somebody in the Truck Series that gets a ton of money and gets to go Cup racing. I really don't know. But it'll be interesting to see if there is movement with that 34 team and who it's going to be. It'll just be a very interesting thing to see, and it's going to be very, 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 I think, late in the game if you see some movement with that 34 team. But I wish we had more people on here. I really thought we were going to get a few more folks. I know our Facebook Live kind of messed some stuff up. People saw the Facebook Live. I know there's NASCAR's doing their eNASCAR Heat series right now, and I know there's a couple other people that usually do streams on Wednesday evenings anyhow. So I know tonight's kind of a tough night to do. That's normally why I try to avoid Wednesday nights in general, just because there's other people that do shows and stuff. And I try to be respectful of that because I know people are trying to, figure out where they're going to go listen to their NASCAR stuff. Um, I mentioned this a little bit on the Facebook Live show, but I'll mention it a little bit here. There's been some rumors going around about a driver and some things about going on in their personal life. I'm not going to confirm or deny anything because I really don't know 100% if something I heard in the garage at Dover is 100% true. Just because it is rumors. I mean, folks make stuff up all the time, and there's stuff that goes around the internet, and sometimes people say things, and you gotta kind of learn where things are truthful and where things are not truthful. Now, if you go on Twitter, there's a great parody account called Drunken Brian France, and a lot of times this person just makes stuff up. There are occasions where he's accurate, and I think he's trying to be accurate with this whole thing. Supposedly, there's something with a Monster Energy girl and a married driver, but we haven't heard names or anything like that. I don't know if we're ever going to really find out what happens with that unless the parties involved announce it themselves. And I don't know how that's going to happen unless somebody physically goes up to him and asks him about it, or the news gets out there somehow. But I don't see Bob Pockrass posting something about this. This isn't obviously something that Adam Stern's going to come out with. This is going to be something that somebody off the wall is going to come out with this news, and it'll be interesting to see who it is because usually personal lives, people try to stay out of those things and try to stay away from them in general. Anyhow, those are not necessarily topics that are discussed in a NASCAR garage area by the media, at least. I mean, you'll hear grumblings about things. I know a couple people tried telling me a story this past summer about why Natalie Decker was out of the car. We never reported it just because I never really felt confident in the story. And the one person that told me, I asked them not to post it on any of my stuff because they do have access to my account. And that was Rob Hill. He tried telling me something he heard, and I asked Rob not to post anything about it because I never got confirmation about it from anybody that I would say was basically somebody that I would trust as a source. Nobody wanted to put their name behind it and say and confirm that was true. So, there's rumors that go around all the time. I mean, like I said, that one this summer was pretty interesting. I heard it about 3 or 4 times, but it wasn't something that, again, I could substantiate. And then that whole thing basically ended up not being true because Natalie Decker's been racing this, after that rumor was going around. So. You sometimes you hear things and you got to take a step back and say, is this really what's going on? And you have to see, and like I said, with this particular rumor, we got to see if it confirms the rumor that I've heard in Dover, and B, if it is that, then I have more questions for that story. And C, if it's not that and it's someone totally different, I want to find out why they thought it was who it was at Dover. So we'll see what goes on with that. I would say stay tuned, but I wouldn't get my hopes up that you're going to find this out because it is private information and it's stuff that you're just not going to find out. So I would be very, very, very surprised if that news ever got confirmed. But we'll leave it at that. I really don't have too much else to talk about. I normally, when we do the Facebook Lives, we usually have some folks that come in here and kind of have some fun with us and get to chat back and forth, what kind of makes the show a little bit more interesting. Last week I had a great debate about some some back markers. We were talking about Bobby Dale Earnhardt was getting some Xfinity starts in the 66 car. I think he's running all the races the rest of the season. I know he's running at ISM, and he's also going to run Homestead. And he ran this weekend, past weekend in Kansas, so that will be interesting to see about. And then we got into a little bit about that, talking about Kansas. Jeremy Clements had a 6th place run. Then we talked a little bit about, that's possibly because he had a car that he got a couple of cars off of Ganassi. So one of those cars he could have gotten was a car that John Hunter Nemechek won with at Kansas. So that maybe was the car he ran there at Kansas and had that 6th place run. And then Ryan Sieg finished 9th at Kansas as well. So another good run for those guys, even though they were eliminated from the playoffs a couple weeks ago. And then, we'll just usually talk a lot about the back of the field because I know Matthew usually comes on and likes to talk about some of those guys back there, mainly because he follows a lot of them. So that's usually a lot of fun to talk about. But that's all I really have. We're gonna try to do this once a week. I'll try not to do it on the same night I do the Facebook lives. So we'll continue to do this. I like doing it this way because it is live and we're able to have that instant communication with the folks watching. I know there's really not. I don't think anybody watching, or if there is, I apologize for ending it kind of quick. But we really don't have a lot to talk about and haven't really seen a lot of chatter. But tell your friends, Crew Chief's Corner. Like I said, we're on Facebook at the Crew Chief, on Twitter at the Crew Chief, Instagram at Crew Chief's Corner. I don't really post a lot on Instagram, but we'll get a little bit more involved with some of those mediums as well and do some stuff on there as well. So check us out. We have entry list posted. We have the schedule for this weekend in Martinsville posted. We will get speeds up on Friday from the trucks and then cup practice. And then we'll have cup qualifying, truck qualifying results as well as the weekend progresses. And then we'll do what we normally do. You'll see, the race results and then the point results for the truck series. And then you'll get it for the cup series as well. And then we start the weekend again with the entry list, and the race schedule is usually Monday and Tuesday. We try to have a show somewhere in there as well to recap the weekend and break down the week ahead. Like I said, tonight we just really quickly ran through a little bit about Kansas, previewed Martinsville a little bit. We did that a lot on the Facebook show, so I'm not going to really didn't do a lot of that tonight on here. But basically, I think Brad Keselowski's a pretty good bet to win this weekend in the Cup Series, and I think Matt Crafton or Brett Moffitt would be a good pick if he had to pick somebody for the Truck Series race. We'll catch everybody next week. I'll let you guys know what day we're going to do a show. It'll probably be somewhere in the beginning of the week if I had to guess. And then we will catch you guys then.